class we did the data types and functions, ठीक है. And इस क्लास में हम उसी के ऊपर कंटिन्यू करने वाले हैं. We also
Okay.
did hosting. So hosting clear है लास्ट सेशन से. और
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
ठीक है, ठीक है. So just let's wait for a minute. कोई आता है, otherwise we can begin. ठीक है.
Okay, sir.
Any doubts with the previous session? कोई doubt है क्या previous session से?
No, sir.
अभी किस लेक्चर पे हो आप?
Actually, sir, मैं object and timing events.
ओके, ठीक है, ठीक है.
Yes, sir. The deadline
Alright.
was 9 of August. So,
अच्छा,
and
9
the
ऑफ.
last topic for the week. Last topic for the week.
ओके.
Then we are starting with understanding DOM.
अच्छा, ओके,
DOM.
गॉट इट. ठीक है, ठीक है. सो मोस्ट प्रोबेबली लाइक दिस वीक, this week we'll be reaching to DOM also, ठीक है. And
Yes,
then
sir.
we'll be on the same page. ठीक है. So all right. Okay, just a minute and then we'll begin.
Sure, sir.
Okay, all right. I guess we can start. So, in the previous session, what we did was, um, we said that okay, this is a function, like, and these are the ways we create the variables. Okay, so there is var, and there is const. Now, my point is कि we can use this variable inside a function. Okay. Finally, when we reach to the like conclusion of a scope, so we said that the first scope which we have is global scope. Okay, so global scope means whatever code I write, it is neither inside any block, neither it is inside any function, nor it is in class. So it is out of these bodies, so we can write it. Now we are writing all these in global scope. Next came the function. So we understand that key whatever we write in the global scope can also be added to the function also. For example, variable declaration is there, console is there, or any other function call is there, that can also be done inside a function. Now the functions were of like some types. For example, this is a normal function which we see. Then finally we have something called as function expression. The idea was to store the function inside a variable and use a variable to call the function. So this is the main thing over here. Inside this, there were two variations: one which has named function expression, and one which has anonymous function expression. Means this inner name is not there. Although we cannot use this inner name to call the function outside it. Okay, so that was one thing. Apart from this, we studied about something called as blocks. So for example, if I write let inside a if condition or a for loop, let is only accessible inside this if it is not accessible outside it, because it is acting some kind of a block which has which has the code contained inside it. Okay, we cannot access it outside. So this was one thing. So this line wouldn't work. All right, this was one thing. Next was hosting in case of functions. So we said that given whenever there is a normal function, we can call it before it has been defined. Now it will work totally fine without any errors. Okay. What happens is when there is a normal function. Why normal function? Why I'm not talking about functions? Function include function expression also. Right. But function expression, if I call it, it is going to throw error. Okay, because function expression, if I call it before defining, it will going to throw error. And my point is, normal functions get hoisted. Hoisted means they go to the top and you can call it. So even if the first line is the function call, it will not throw any error. Okay. Similar case of hoisting was with var also. Okay. Only with var, not let and const. We cannot access them at the top. Although they are also hoisted. So everything is every like let const var is hoisted. The functions are also hoisted, but JavaScript does not allow us to access it before it's a lex before it a scope arrive. If a scope arrive means when we say function 5, so this function 5 will only be available after line number 42. Okay, so this is noted with JavaScript. Although this is also hoisted, there is no doubt in it that this is not hoisted. It is obviously hoisted, but it will throw a reference error. It will not allow us to use it. So this was the thing. Just having a quick run, and then we'll move to our next topic, which we are going to study, which is arrays. Okay. This is a like very important thing, so that is why I'm focusing on it more. So, for example, if you check in the console, so it says lexvar is not defined. What is this lexvar? This is the line number 54. So this let was inside a if condition, and we couldn't access it. So this is the thing. Now, my point here is we also studied about the execution context. Execution context means whenever the function is running or in pending state, it is inside the execution stack. Okay, it is inside the execution stack. And whenever there is the function is in execution stack, it maintains the execution context, or it maintains a object. It maintains an object which has three properties inside. One is this keyword, another is access to its inner variable, local variable, what we have. Okay, or functions, variable or functions. So this keyword, access to it variable or functions. Third one is a reference to outer environment, environment. For function one, the outer environment is basically the global environment. Also, we say that nested functions can exist. Now in this case, we also said that inside a function, a nested function can exist. Okay. Now, my statement was, if a function is in running or pending state, it will be an execution context, and that time it will maintain a object of execution context. We call it execution context. The whole point of execution context to have three things. This variable, okay, it's not a variable. We'll see this keyword. Second, it's access to it local variables and functions. And third, a reference to outer environment. Reference to outer environment. For this nested function, the outer environment is function one. So these three things are available for any function which is in running or pending state. This is what we had in Wisdom and functions. To keep it like this, let's keep it till here. We'll like talk more about the scopes and later sections. Okay, once we study about arrow function and binding and all things. All right. Next thing we are going to see is how arrays function inside JavaScript. Okay, so we are going to see how arrays function inside JavaScript and what is special about them. If I talk about the data types, okay, if I talk about the data types, there are five primitive data types and one is non-primitive. Non-primitive is combination of like primitive data types. We call it non-primitive. Now, one we are going to study. There's one more, but okay, we'll see that. The five data types are number, string, boolean, null, and undefined. And finally, for non-primitive, we have something called as object. We didn't talk about array. Is array a data type here? What do you guys think? Is array a data type? All right. Let's see. Let's figure that part out. So I will write a script. How do we have an array? How do we have an array? How to create an array? Any guesses? Okay. The first way is something like this. Okay, first way is empty square brackets. This will initialize an array for us. Other way is, there's a other way to create an array. Okay, this is first way. The second way is to create something called as new array, and which we have over here. So these are the two ways we have in order to create a array. The first way is the array literal, and the second way is to use the constructor function, array constructor. Yeah, you heard it right. So we have something called as constructor in JavaScript, but we didn't study about class till now. How did constructor came over here? That is a question which we'll see. But yeah, this is the case. Now these two are the ways by which we initialize the array. Moving forward, let's talk about the functions. So I will quickly open this in browser. Then let's discuss about the functions. All right. The two arrays are the arr and the array one, right? So we have both of them over here. If I open it, I have something called as length. I have something called as prototype, which we'll see. What do we mean by prototype, and what is contained inside it? But we can see that we already have a property. We already have a property of length here. So we can use the dot length to get the length of our array. My point is, the only non-primitive data structure is object we know at the point. Okay. Uh, can someone tell why like how do we use object here in JavaScript? How the data is stored, or what are the properties? All right, there's a basic thing. So we'll also do. Now this is the way we create an object, right? If you remember, just the non-primitive type. Now my point is, okay, before I move to array, just one, two things about object. Now, object in JavaScript stores key value pairs. Key value pairs. Okay? Key value pairs. Key value pair means it is a kind of dictionary, or you can say hash map, whatever we had in the last DSA. Okay? Something like this can be done. You can have keys. For example, the key name is A, or let's say the key name is CB or something something. Okay, and you can have any other values over it. So this is how an object. So it has keys and values inside it. Okay, and you can access it. All right, you can just access it. This is the case. All right, coming back to array. Now array looks something like this. Now whenever we see a data structure, the main question says the insertion part, the deletion part, the search operation. Okay, and what else? The insertion is there, deletion is there, initialization is there, searching is there. So these things are important. How do we perform this in array? Let's see. So firstly, in order to add an element, addition, for addition we have something called as push method, in which if I type an element, it will be pushed into my array. So this is how it is. Also, I can check the length out. So obviously, I guess you guys have already guessed. So array dot length will fetch me one. Now I can again, using the push function, I can again do something like uh, this, and it will work fine. Now push is the function in order to add the element. What is the function to delete? Anyone knows? So pop is the function, right? All right. If pop was the answer, yes, it is correct. So pop is the function which pops the element or deletes the element from the array's end. ठीक है? Array के end से element को delete करता है. So one is the push function, then another is the pop function. All right. There are two more functions which we have. So let's see them. So we have something called as array dot unshift. Why do we use array dot unshift? Any guesses?
In order to move right side.
All right. insert at the beginning, right? All right, let's see. So insert at the beginning means this 3 should be inserted at the beginning, and yes, that is the same case. So you can see that not only we can add the element at the end, we can also add the element in the beginning also inside JavaScript arrays. It means that we also have a function known as shift. Previous function to add was the name is unshift. In order to delete it, we have something called as shift, and yes, it will delete from front. So push pop, add and delete from the end, shift and shift, add and delete from the beginning. All right. Now, apart from this is also available to us. Okay, there's not the case that this is not available to us. All right, and not only numbers, you can use a string also. Let's say something, you can store it over. Yeah. So these are the ways how do we add inside the array. Is it clear now? Is it clear till now, guys? Any issues still here? All right. The next point which we needed to see here is when I printed my array, I'm seeing that there are 3 elements inside it. Makes sense because at index 2, the species is inserted, which is the third element. Indexing start from 0, 1, 2, and yes, indeed it is at this point. But my point is, what array we know, if you remember, whatever array we know, we cannot have empty cells inside any other language. The arrays we had in some, let's say, C++ or Java, at least either it is going to store 0, it cannot be empty or something like that, right? But yes, in JavaScript, it is also possible. Okay? Whenever we try to do something like this, rest index are skipped. Okay? For example, if I go and say array 50, I go and say array 50 is equals to, let's say, any boolean. So yeah, you can store boolean also. Okay. So yes, we have things empty. Okay. So we have the things empty. There is no issues, no errors over here. This is what it is. All right. How this is working is how this is working is okay. Let's see that part a bit later. But my point is, we do not have anything. Where is the screen? Okay, we do not have any strict rule that only this type of data will be inserted. Okay, inside array you can insert any type of data. So it can be either a string, it can be number, it can be boolean, and even an array, even an object, anything can be kept inside it. Okay, so there is no strict data type requirement. All right. So these are the functions which we had: addition, deletion. Okay. Next functions are splice function and slice function. Let's see what is splice function and what is slice function. Also, be careful with the return type. Okay, every function is either returning something or it is not returning something. For example, if you see the push method, okay, if you see the push method, it is returning the array's length. Okay, array's length is returned while pushing, and what is returned while popping?
The element which is deleted or which popped.
Yes, yes, correct. So whatever being deleted is returned. Same case with unshift. Unshift is addition. So addition will return the length of the array, and shift will return the element itself. All right. So this is the thing. Coming back to the function which we are going to discuss today, the function name is splice function. How it is helpful is, don't worry, we already have this array. Okay. Okay. Let redesign this array. So I will say 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. Okay. Yes, we can do this. Okay. We can do this also. Our point is we already have this 5 elements in sequence. Okay. The splice function says that if you want to delete some element and insert it, If you want to delete some element and insert, for example, I want to delete this 3 and 4. Okay, I want to delete this 3 and 4. I want to insert 5 over here. I want to delete 3 and 4, insert 5 here. So I can say that 2 over here, 2 over here. Like, I will give deletion count, okay, and I will give the element to insert. I'll repeat this again. Uh, if I want to delete some element, delete some number of elements and insert some new element. Okay, if I want to delete some element and insert some new elements, what I can do is I will give the start index. Okay, splice function takes the first is the start index we have over here. Okay, first is the start index we have over here. Second, deletion count. How many elements to be deleted from that start index? Third, the number of elements we want to insert. For example, if I hit this, we can see that the new array which we have has 3 and 4 deleted and 5 is inserted. Is the splice function clear, guys? What it is doing? All right. I'm saying that from index 2, delete two numbers and insert 5. I can do some modifications to this splice function. Let's see. I can leave this as 0. Okay, I can leave this as 0, and finally I can insert more than one elements. Okay, I can insert more than one elements. How does this work? See this. So I said that at index 2, delete 0 elements. It means do not delete anything, but insert 1 2 7. So at index 2, there is no element deleted, but from index 2, 1 2 and 7 as inserted, 5 6's remain intact. And the return is whatever elements are deleted, that is being returned by the splice function. Whatever elements are deleted is being returned in an array by splice function. Coming back to the point, if you remember, we when we were discussing about functions, JavaScript functions, we said that some of the times the arguments inside these functions can be optional. Okay, can be optional. How does this that work is, if I say just 2, okay, if I just say 2 and I say 2, okay, I do not give any third arguments. What do you think here? See, my point is, in a splice function there are only three arguments acceptable. Okay, only three arguments. First is uh, the start index, second is the deletion count, and the third is basically the elements to insert. So you'll say, sir, here are five arguments. You are saying three arguments. How does this work? All these three are counted as a one argument. How does this happen? We'll see. We'll study about two more operators. Okay, but yes, if you want to go in, if you want to know it, it is called spread operator or a rest operator. A rest operator. We call it rest operator or spread operator. Just check it out. What is the rest operator? This is the rest operator. Okay. Coming back to the point. Now, since only mandatory argument is the start index, rest these two are optional argument. Okay. If I just leave the last index, okay, it means that what will happen if I just have a start index and deletion count?
It will delete two elements from starting from second index, I think.
All right. So let's check the array out. Yes, very correct. Obviously, so one and two are deleted, and we have from 2756. Okay. All right. So this is one thing. Now, one last. So array dot splice. Okay. I will say 3. What will happen now?
I think it will return third index element or
All
from third.
right. So what it does is, after that start index, it deletes everything. Okay. So third indexes are 5. It will delete rest of them. Is it clear, guys? Uh, if you don't provide the deletion count. ठीक है. So if you don't give deletion count, it means that delete everything after this start index. ठीक है. Is it clear to everyone? All right. And return type is always the deleted elements. ठीक है. And this is the
It is
splice.
deleted. It is
Mhm.
deleted, including third index, right?
Yes, yes, starting from the third index. ठीक है. 0, 1, 2, 3. So three third index is 5 and till the end. ठीक है. So 0, 1, 2 and from 3 there is no element. ठीक है. Uh, I hope it's clear.
Yes, sir.
All right. Let's see the next thing. Next function we are going to see is something called as splice. Okay, splice. Let's put some element in our array. So we'll say 1, 4, 5, 8, 0. Okay, so this is the array. My point is array dot slice. Array dot slice. The slice function has two arguments inside it. Both of them are optional. Whenever you say optional, you see this question mark. Question mark means if it is there, it's okay. Otherwise, it will run anyways. For example, how this function works is see this. So I will say 2 comma uh, 4. Okay, 2 comma 4. The work of this slice function is to get the chunk of array. Chunk of array means take the start index and the end index, and I want the elements in between. Start index is inclusive, including the start index, and end index is exclusive, excluding the end index. For example, 2 is being included and 4 is being excluded means 2, 3, not 4, 2 and 3. So 0, 1, 2, 3 and 4. So second and third elements are 5 and 8, which is being returned to us. Okay? So this is the splice function which we have over here. Now my point is there is so this thing can also be achieved with a splice function. Splice and slice are both different one. Okay? There is no p inside it. My point is the difference you okay. Tell me the difference here, guys. What is the difference between slice and splice function apart from length of argument? What do you see in terms of array?
Splice will delete the element.
All right, and slice.
Slice will show the including and excluding of the particular index to.
Mm, okay, okay. Yeah, I get that you're getting the point. Can we say that splice function is modifying the original array, right?
Yes, yes.
And slice function is not modifying the original array. Make sense, guys? Everyone? Okay. All right. Now coming to the point. Okay. Let's get done with this one. So basically, single index can also be there. So single index says that the start index says that ki, okay, like delete everything after this index. Okay. So this is what it is being done, and we can leave both of them. Okay. So it will give the complete array. So these are the three variation of slice functions. Okay. This is the three variation of slice function and the splice function. I want to show you some more things. For example, when I say minus one, okay, minus one, negative indexing. Obviously, that is not going to work in any other language. But yes, negative index is working here. But there is a catch. The catch is okay. We'll discuss about the exception later. My point is, minus one means what do you guys think? Which is the minus one index? Which index is considered as minus one over here? The last index, right? 0, minus 1, minus 2, minus 3, minus 4, minus 5. For example, minus 1, 2, minus 3. Okay, sorry. Minus 3. Okay, so a smaller index should come over here and bigger should be here, right? So this is how it works. All right. So minus 3, 2. -1, -3 to -1, -3 to -1 means -1, -2, -3. ठीक है, तो -3 is this one, this is the start index, and -1 is this, but it is exclusive, so 8 will be included. So that is why we are getting this. Is it clear, guys? Negative indexing is clear. All right. It means that -5 to -1 will give the complete array to us, or maybe 0 can give the complete array. Okay, 0 is not working. It's not a good idea. Okay, so this is the point. So negative index can work. Just a last check for splice function. Does this also work with negative index? Let's say -1. Okay, -1 delete 0. Let's see. All right, it is giving us -3, and this is not working. We can figure it out. Yes, here it is working too. Minus index is working. The same thing. -3, 2, or -3, -1 are the same things, right? Isn't they are the same thing. My point is, you cannot do something like this. Okay, so you will say, sir has said that minus index will work, but yeah, it does not exist. Okay, it only works inside these two functions. Okay, is it clear, guys? Is negative indexing clear?
Yes, sir.
All right. Okay, so this is the current state of our array. Okay, let me add some elements to it. 14709. All right. So I have added everything inside this document. Okay, please, like, have go through. Okay, it is a, like, it will be easy to revise it from here. Okay, coming back to the point, iterating over the array. Okay, how do we iterate over the array? Okay, how do you iterate over the array? First function to iterate is, first function which we are going to see, the iteration is r normal for loop. How does this that work is, let's see. So this is our for loop. Okay, um, let the name be index. Okay, bound, we can change this with array dot length. Okay, index plus plus, normal for loops which we have in other languages also. Yeah, nothing is special. My point is, this is one way to have things. Okay, so console dot log. All right, and inside this we can write the array. Inside this we can write the index. Let's see, index. This is the first way, which we already know, okay, from other languages. So this is the first thing. Apart from this, apart from this, the first method which we are going to see is, okay. But before also this, let's see for in. Okay, for in. This was the for loop. Next iterator is for in. Okay. How does this work? For let num in array. Okay, let num in array, and I want to do the num. Right. Okay. Okay. Sorry. It is printing the index. We do not need the index. Basically, need the array, right? Alright. So this is for in loop. So for loop, the normal for loop, and this is the for in loop over here. Okay. Just a minute, guys. Okay. Coming to the third point, the third loop is, we have something called as for each. Okay, so we have something called as for each, which we have not already seen, and it is a bit different from what we have already studied. So let's see that also. All right, am I doing something wrong? Yes, it is applied on the array as like this. Now there is a concept of something called as callback functions. Okay, there's some concept of something called as callback functions. Now, callback functions are not some special different kind of functions like we already studied. It is the same function, but the idea here is we will pass a function to a event or a loop or any function, and that function will call, and then JavaScript will call the function. We do not have to call the function. Okay, I hope it is being clear. Otherwise, let's see. I want to create a function. Okay, let me create a function, and the name of the function will be something called as print. The first argument here will be the number which I'm going to print, and second will be something called as index, and third will be the array itself. Why three arguments? We'll just check it out. Okay. I want to do three consoles over here. Give me a minute, guys. There's someone at the door. All right. So let me write the function first. So something called as number, then the index, and finally the others. Okay. So this is a function. Okay. My point is array dot for each is a loop. So array dot for each is a loop that asks for a function. Okay. So just like this, I pass this function inside the for each loop. Now, if you see that I didn't call the print function. Okay. I didn't call the print function. For every index present over here, for every element present over here, the print function is called internally. Now, whenever we pass function like this, we call it callback function. Okay, callback function. JavaScript takes care of calling it. We do not need to include. Now, what we get here is, see, first thing is the number, which is the element. Second thing is the index itself. Third is the complete array over here. Okay, so whatever function I pass inside this for each loop, I have the whatever function I pass inside in here. I have all the I have all the elements inside it. So this is how for each function work. It asks for a function and it runs function on every element. Is for each loop clear, guys? Any doubts in this? Uh, Guys, is for each loop clear? All right. Next thing is we have something similar kind of thing over here. Call it a map of function. Okay. This works similar to whatever functions we are having. Okay. Um, so for each is taking print, and the three arguments which we have in over here is the number, the index, and the array which is being passed in over here. Now similarly, when you talk about map function, I can pass the complete function over here. I can pass the complete function over here. But there is a catch. The catch is this is map function. Okay, so we already seen the for each function. There is a map function which is also asking for a callback. But there is a catch. The catch is this for each method may or may not return something. So if it does not return something, it will return undefined. Okay. For example, for each is returning undefined. But what the map is returning? Can anyone tell what is the map returning?
value.
All right, and value in.
Key. Key and value.
Can I say that it is returning a complete array running on this
Yes,
print
yes.
function? All right. Let me do a quick modification in this print function, and then you guys will like get the idea what is happening exactly. And the modification here is, apart from printing, I want to do one more thing. The thing is, I want to return also. Okay, this function is not returning something. Okay, I want to return something. Let's say num square. Okay, num into num, that is num square. All right. Let's run the function again. When I run for each, no changes as it is. It is as it is, no changes. But let's run the map function, so we can see that we are getting an array. And what is the array holding? What are the
Square. Square.
yes,
Square of.
correct. So whatever this method is returning, that is all being stored inside this array. Are you guys getting the point here, guys? Got the
Yes, sir.
difference? Okay.
Yeah.
Now, this is one part that for each does not return something. Method type of for each is void, and method type of map function is an array of values which is returned by the function itself. There is one more difference, okay? Just like slice and splice. Okay, tell me both of in slice and splice, which modifies the array? Which function modify the array?
Like.
Correct. So splice method modifies the array. The same funda is here also. Let me do one thing and then check. Now, in the case of this print function, I wanted to do something like this. Okay, let me try to, since I'm getting array also. Okay, okay. One question here. The question is, the question is, who is supplying these values to print function? Who is supplying these num index and array? In order to call a function, you have to supply the parameters, right? So yes, that is also being done internally. JavaScript itself supplies these values. Okay, whenever you say print, the first, second, and third argument are the other thing. Okay. Now, whenever I run the print function, I'm saying that at each index, whatever I have, change the array value to number. Change the array value to number. Okay. Let's see if this works or not. So I will run the map function. Okay. I will run the map function over here, and I have got the things here. All right.
Sir,
Okay.
array name ARR. No?
Oh
Hmm.
yes. Oh okay. No. No. That is fine. Okay. ठीक है. It's working. It's working. See, this array is what is being supplied over here. ठीक है. Okay. So if you do this, anyways, it is going to modify it. ठीक है. No issues. No issues. ठीक है. This number is the element, this is the index itself, and this is the array supplied itself. So whatever changes being coming over here inside this, it is working. Okay, no issues, no issues. If we check the array, okay, so now we can see that this map function is working totally fine over here. Although there is okay, anyways, it is working. Okay, no issues. I just did the modification, that way it's modified. The same thing can also be done with a for each loop also. Okay. So if you see for each loop, so we can see the things whatever we had already, that is also getting squared. All right, anything else to have? All right, so these are the iterators. Okay, these are way to iterate. The first one is the normal for loop which we have, then the for in loop, then we have um, this for each, then map. Okay, for each map, then normal for loop, and then for in loop. Anything else do we have? So the differences is clear to us that for each has undefined return type and thus has this returns array, and it expects whatever function is inside it, it is returning a value. अगर वो value return करेगा तो ये भी value return करेगा. There's one last of it. We call it for off loop. ठीक है? This is the last iterator. Let's check that out also. Finally, the for off will work something like, yeah, so there's a name and the collection. So collection goes with something like the array, and inside this we have. If I try to print the name over here, okay. So let's see. Uh, Okay. Now we are getting element directly from the we are getting the element directly from the collection. Okay. Collection means it can be anything, um, like name or something else. Okay. So uh, basically the array we have is our collection means iterator should be required. Okay. So this is what we. Any doubts in iteration, guys? Any doubts still here? How do we iterate?
Okay.
All right. Now it's time we move to array, but before I move to array, I want to discuss some more things. For example, I just said that there is something called as object, and object is a non-primitive data type, and it has something called as key value pairs. So key value pairs are there. Okay. Uh, so key value pairs are there. Now my point is, if I observe my array, okay, if I observe my array, okay. One more thing. What is the data type of keys in object? Is there any specific data type of object?
String, I think strings.
Yes, yes, very correct, very correct. It is a string. See this, guys. Okay, before I see this, I do we have anything else on this? And then we, I guess we should move to object. Then we'll come back and talk about this. Okay. So this was all about the basics, whatever array we have. I will fill all the functions here, and I will share the document with you. Okay. All right. Let me create an file. Let's talk more about object because that is what is important as of now. Object, a non-primitive type in JavaScript, and how do we write it is basically let obj is equals to curly braces. This is the first way to create an object. Just like arrays, we have two ways. What is the other way? Can anyone tell? All right. So it is new object. Okay. So similarly, I had these square brackets and the new array. Similarly, I have the curly braces and the new object. Uh, do I guess there's some mic issue from you? Okay, thank you. All right. So these are the two ways which we have to, which we have for creating a object. Now my point is, since I said that key object are for storing key values pairs, so this is how we write it. Now, how do we store key value pairs? Let's see. These are also called whatever be the keys and values are. Okay, these are also called properties over it. Okay, so these are also called as properties over it. How properties over it is? How properties over it means is For example, object dot a will be, let's say, 10, something like this is there. Then object dot b is something called as true. This can also be there. Any data structure, what we figure out? Addition, deletion, initialization, and searching. Okay? Or iteration, you can say. Okay? Iteration is also there over here. Okay, we'll see that also. My point is, addition happens something like this. Just like hash map, you have keys and values. The same thing is, and there the keys are unique. Here also the keys are unique. Okay? Here also the keys are unique. But the only point is, neither in array nor in object, you do not have to care about the data types. What do I mean by it? It is, you can store any data element inside an array, and same occurs over here. You can have any kind as values. But remember, the keys are always should be in a string. The keys should always be string. But you will say, sir, you are saying a string, then this is also a string. Isn't it a string? Yes, this is also a string. Why is it is giving error, sir? Then why it is giving error? I'm saying that it keys as a string and this string is giving error. Okay. The point is, it is correct that a string, it is a string, but my point is, whenever we fall in such scenarios, when this is not a valid variable name because it has quotation and it has a space inside it, we have to mention our keys in a square bracket. Okay, we have to mention our keys inside a square bracket. Key, the key with spaces. Right. Is this point clear, guys?
Yes, sir.
All right. Even you can do something like this also. So minus 2, not underscore 2, minus 2, and I can negative spin. It's also good. Okay, let's go to the browser and let's play with it. So basically, this is the way to add a property. Okay, so it can be any primitive. The values can be any primitive, and even it can be non-primitive. For example, object dot nested obj. Okay, nested obj. This is also possible. Or this possible curly braces, like not curly braces. You can write something inside this. You can say a dot a colon 45, or let's say b colon string. Alright, the only missing thing is you need to put a comma over here. Remember, whenever you write the properties and keys inside the curly braces, it should not be a semicolon. You have to put a comma. But my point is, this object values keys are always a string, but the values can be anything, primitive, non-primitive. Even object can be stored inside the object, and this object can also have an object, a nested object, an object inside object. That can go on. Let's save this and let's go to the browser. All right, obj. Okay, so this is the object we are having. Now I can see that we have minus 2, we have a string a, b, and nested object. All right, so this is what my point is. This is addition. How do okay? This is addition. How do we read it? In order to read it, we can do something like this. How to add it? We just saw how to read it. This is something like, but we cannot do something like this, right? We cannot do something like this. This is bad. Like, not bad, not as per rules, right? Yeah, but you can do something like this. Okay, so just like how we inserted it, the same way we can read it also. My next point is the same thing with other values also. But my point is, what about the nested object? What about nested object? It will work totally fine. And what about its contents? Do the same thing. Dot operators. Do the dot chaining and you will get it. So inside the object, how to add it, how to read it, and how to add and read the other way, which is the square bracket notation for invalid names. We have something like this. It doesn't mean that I cannot do something like this. I can do this also. Okay, not this every time. I can do this also. Okay, so either do obj.a or obj.this. This will every time work. Okay, for valid or invalid variable names, it will work every time. All right. So addition is done, reading is done. How do we delete it? Any guesses? How do we delete a key? So the function is delete obj dot a. Okay, so you can delete obj dot a. So a is deleted over. Now how do we delete the nested one? The same thing. So uh, delete dot we have something as obj dot nested obj dot a. So you can delete the nested properties also. That can also be deleted. In fact, the complete object can be deleted. All right, it is not allowing me to delete. Uh, okay, it is not allowing me to delete because there must be something alive over here. Must be reading it somewhere. All right. Anyways, this is the syntax to delete the element. Okay. Now my point is, this is the deletion part. Okay. This is the deletion part, reading part, uh, and the addition part. Okay. Next thing which we are going to see here is, all right. Anything else we need to add it? Okay. Searching or iteration. So iteration will do, but anything we are missing. All right. My point is, in order for a language to be considered as an object-oriented programming language, what are the things required? What do we require for a language to be object-oriented?
Classes, objects,
Okay.
con- and abstractions.
All right. Um, can we say that? Okay. So abstraction is there. Very correct. Abstraction is there. Encapsulation is there. Inheritance is there. Right. Guys. So what is basically encapsulation? When we write a functions and data member inside a class, okay, when you say, let's say class fridge, now this class fridge has certain data types, certain data members. Data member is maximum temperature, current temperature, um, on off, like the boolean is there, is it on, the class fridge is on off. Fridge is a machine, right? Now we can have some functions, or the functions to start it. Function start is there, function stop is there, function change temperature is there, and you have written a code for that object. The object here is fridge, with the help of data members and member functions. Now the point here is the same thing is available over here also. Okay, the same thing is available over here also. Not only these objects can have primitives, these objects can have functions also. Okay, these objects can have complete functions also. That is also possible. There's no, just a minute. अरे जाओ अंदर, दिलीप बंटी हैं। दिलीप बंटी हमको बुला रही हैं, जाओ। अरे फिर बुलाएंगे। Okay, all right. Where were we? Okay, so we were on functions. Okay. Similarly, I also have function over here. So function and object. Okay. Object is capable of holding data members and member functions. Okay. So we can say that yes, something somewhat class functionalities we have over here. Okay. Now, classes act as encapsulation. Encapsulation means like how you see a capsule, right? Everything is contained inside it. You do not have to worry about how the things is working. Okay, so everything is contained inside this object, member functions or data members. Next is inheritance, which we'll see inheritance is also possible. Okay, and third is the data abstraction. Data abstraction means if there are some functions we do not need to worry about or take care, like do need like not need to take care about like how things are working inside it. Okay, the same thing is here also. So once you create an object, whatever logic you want to have over here, have it. You can just access it using properties, right? All right. uh, a- okay, any doubts still here, guys, about object? Do we have any doubts? Is it clear? All right. um ठीक है. Okay, let's cover one more thing and then we'll see in the next session. The next thing is something called as how do we clone object. Okay, so this was asked in interview. Okay, that is why I'm including it. How do we clone an object? My point is, okay, before I move to cloning, I want to show you something. Guys, do you remember that what was the special thing about const? What was the special thing about const?
So fixed variable,
It
it
means
is
what?
a fixed throughout the execution of a program, contains fixed value.
Correct. So as per like the answer, it is correct, right? Because you cannot assign something, right? All right. Coming back, I have an object over here. Okay, I have an object over here. Not IBJ, it's OBJ. Okay, I have an object which is const obj1 is already defined. So I will say obj2 and yes. So this is our obj2. Okay. And my point is, tell me, can I do something like this? This is a const object. Can I do something like this? Will it change the value inside it or it will throw error? It is a const object. I'm trying to change the value of b. Will it change the value or it will throw a error?
It will change the value, I think, because we are using an object, so it uses keys and values.
Okay, that is one correct answer, that it will change the value. But object is constant, right?
But object is a reference. It's a reference.
All right. It means that can I not do something like this? Can I do something like this? Okay, it totally makes sense. Whatever you're saying is very correct. Okay, because since it's a property, this b is not const, right? We can change that. Object is const. Okay, so will this statement work? Object one is the older object and object two is the newer, the const object two. Will this work? This will not work because this time we are changing object to itself, not the property. All right, guys, are you getting this point? Guys, object 2 is const, right? Object 2 is const.
Yes, sir.
ठीक है? The properties are not const. The properties can be changed, but object completely cannot be changed to any other object or any other value. Make sense, guys? I hope this point is clear. All
Yes, sir.
right. ठीक है, very correct. So if it is let or where, then you know that कि anything is possible. ठीक है, where anything is possible, let some rules, but it is also possible. This is what we had in case of objects. All right, guys. Like we'll take the discussion further. Okay, I will study about iteration and cloning of objects, and we'll see how does that work. I hope you like got some insights how arrays and object work. Okay, if you have any doubts, any issues in here, like please feel free to tell. Right? Where do we have the sheet? All right. Vikas is here. Vikas is not here. Suraj is not here. Shraddha is not here. Chandra is not here. Rajat is here, right? USA is not here. Nikhil is here. Natarajan is not here. Mohit is not here. Nepal is not here. Kushagra, Jaswant is not here. Chandra is not here. Yoga is here. Dilip is here, right? Ambrish is not here. Aman is not here today. Ajay is here. Who is here today? Dilip, Nikhil, Rajat, Yoga. Okay, Nikhil is also here. Yeah, Nikhil, I did it. Did I mark you? Yes, two over here and two over here. Okay, all right. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much. Let's meet.
Thank you, sir.
Let's meet in the next session. Bye, guys.